In the dense emerald heart of the Amazon rainforest, where life teems beneath a thick canopy and ancient trees whisper stories to the wind, there lived a man whose legend transcended borders. His name was Mr. Martin, a white American conservationist who had dedicated over 5 decades of his life to protecting the wild creatures of the jungle. He wasn't just a ranger or an environmentalist. He was a guardian of the forest, a silent warrior who chose the path of selflessness over comfort. From the moment he set foot in the Amazon, Mr. Martin had known that this was where he belonged. Over the years, he had become a familiar figure, his rugged face, faded ranger hat, and battered notebook a staple of the region. Locals respected him deeply, calling him O Protector, the protector. Animals seemed to recognize him too, sensing the purity in his presence. He had raised orphaned monkeys, healed injured macaws, freed trapped jaguars, and, most famously, rescued a tiger nearly a decade ago. The tiger had been caught in a brutal poacher's trap, its leg mangled and spirit nearly broken. Mr. Martin had found it just in time. With the help of 2 young rangers, Callan and Rael, he had tranquilized the beast, carried it through miles of unforgiving terrain, and nursed it back to health over several months. During those long nights of pain and recovery, something powerful formed between the man and the animal. When the tiger was finally released back into the wild, it had turned to look at Mr. Martin one last time, as if imprinting his savior's image into memory. Now, 10 years later, the legend of that tiger still echoed through the trees, much like Mr. Martin's footsteps. Despite his age, Mr. Martin never rested. Even after retirement, he volunteered with the local sanctuary. The Amazon was changing. Temperatures were rising, deforestation creeping, and animal injuries growing more frequent. His body ached, but his spirit remained iron-willed. Rangers often pleaded with him to rest, but he would only laugh and say, "How can I sleep when the forest is calling?" One scorching afternoon, with the temperature soaring past 45 degrees Celsius, Mr. Martin insisted on visiting an injured elephant deep in the jungle. The elephant, a gentle giant named Tembo, had been found limping the previous evening, possibly from an old bullet wound that had reopened. Martin couldn't bear the thought of Tembo in pain. Callan and Rael tried to persuade him to wait for backup, but Mr. Martin was determined. "He saved me once with his trumpet when I was lost in the fog," he said with a smile. "Now it's my turn." They loaded supplies into the aging Jeep, the engine coughing to life like an old friend reluctantly rising from sleep. As they ventured deeper into the jungle, the heat became suffocating. The path narrowed into tangled roots and thick mud. Birds screeched overhead, and the distant rumble of the river accompanied them. When they finally found Tembo, he was leaning against a tree, his flank heaving. Mr. Martin stepped down from the Jeep slowly, his hand clutching a water bottle. He approached the elephant gently, murmuring in a low, soothing voice. Tembo let out a soft trumpet in response. Then it happened. A sharp, stabbing pain gripped Mr. Martin's chest. He gasped, stumbled forward, and collapsed to his knees. Rael rushed to his side, eyes wide with panic. Callan jumped down from the Jeep, pulling out the emergency satchel. Martin's breathing was ragged. He tried to speak but only managed to whisper, "Tell the tiger, I kept my promise." Rael searched frantically through his belongings for medication, Martin's nitroglycerin tablets, but they weren't there. He must have forgotten them in his rush. Callan called in the emergency over the radio. "Medical unit, priority red. Ranger down. Repeat, Ranger down in Sector 7 near Elephant Site." The response was immediate. Within minutes, the jungle echoed with the roar of an approaching rescue vehicle. Mr. Martin was loaded onto a stretcher, Callan holding his hand, whispering prayers. At the sanctuary clinic, doctors tried everything: defibrillators, IVS, oxygen. But after 15 agonizing minutes, the lead doctor emerged with eyes full of sorrow. "We've lost him," she said. The news sent shockwaves through the sanctuary and beyond. Word spread from village to village, reserve to reserve. The man who had devoted his life to the Amazon had passed away on the very ground he fought to protect. His white American family, who had always respected his choices from afar, flew in to honor his final wish, to be buried in the Amazon, beneath the canopy he loved. Callan and Rael, shattered but determined, prepared the funeral with reverence. At sunrise the next day, in the sanctuary's central courtyard, Mr. Martin's body was laid upon a wooden platform, surrounded by candles and wildflowers. His ranger hat rested on his chest. Rangers, villagers, children, and even elders came to pay respects. A quiet, sacred silence filled the air. Then, from the forest's edge, came a sound. A deep growl that wasn't of mourning, but something ancient and raw. Heads turned. There, emerging from the shadows, was a massive tiger. It moved slowly, deliberately, with a regal gait. Its coat shimmered like molten gold, and across its side, a deep scar told a story only a few recognized. Callan's voice trembled. "It's him, the tiger we rescued." Gasps swept through the crowd. The tiger made no threatening move. It walked up to the platform, stopped at Mr. Martin's feet, and bowed its head. A wave of emotion surged. Children clutched their mothers. Rangers stood frozen. The tiger didn't growl, didn't roar. It simply remained still, as if meditating, as if mourning. Then it did something even more astonishing. It lay down beside the platform, its massive head resting near Mr. Martin's hand. A bond, unspoken but unbreakable, had brought it here. As the ceremony continued, the tiger remained. When it was time to carry the body to its final resting place beneath a tall ceiba tree, the tiger followed. There, under the dappled sunlight, Mr. Martin was gently lowered into the earth. His grave was marked with a simple stone. Mr. Martin, guardian of the wild, 50 years of devotion. He gave nature everything, and nature never forgot. The tiger stood by until the last shovel of earth was placed, then let out a long, haunting roar that echoed into the forest. Not of rage, not of power, but of loss. People spoke of that moment for generations. The tiger returned often to the grave, lying quietly under the tree. It chased off scavengers that came near, and sometimes brought gifts: bones, feathers, tokens from the forest. Rael and Callan took up Mr. Martin's mission, inspired by the loyalty they had witnessed. They told his story to new recruits, to visitors, and to children sitting beneath the trees. The tale became legend, not just of a man and a tiger, but of what love, respect, and sacrifice truly meant. In the ever-changing Amazon, where rivers shift and trees fall, one thing remained constant: the grave beneath the ceiba tree, and the tiger who never forgot the man who once saved his life. Every creature carries a story of love, loss, and survival. Subscribe and never miss a heartbeat from the wild.